Hello, everybody. Joseph Sunderman here. Going to go live here in just a moment, so hang tight. It's just now hit 1 o'clock, so give me just a minute, and we'll get started. All right. Getting settled in. Okay. How's everybody doing today? It's Saturday, July the 20th, 2024. What a crazy week we had last week. Oh my God. We're going to talk about a lot today. So last week I was exhausted, but I got some rest this week. Did get to the last minute of getting today's episode ready, but we got it today ready, and today's focus is going to be outages. If you're in this tech world, you're going to be well aware of Microsoft's outage last week, and seeing how this affected some of our clients. Again, we don't have airlines as a client, and we do have a lot of financial businesses that work with financial institutes that were affected by this. But all in all, we weren't majorly affected by this outage here in Cincinnati with our clientele. So that's grateful. But as far as the creative tech goes, how does this affect the workforce and us being, the authority in the modern workforce and trying to develop a practice around that? Like, what does that look like? I would say definitely that this is a great talking point for us. So today's topics are going to be around readiness, which is our first topic geared towards the focus of outages. So readiness, management, and then reflection. Bottom line is outages are going to happen. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. And when it does happen, are we ready for that? Are we prepared, or are we living in some delusional world, and when it does happen, we're going to be devastated? Any decent sized company that got there organically knows that you got to be ready. So enough about that for right now. We're going to, these shows are geared to have some value and help people that want to work in technology, maybe being an entrepreneur, a solopreneur, whether you're into creative, the arts, working in theater and music and doing that stuff, or whether you're in manufacturing or selling, marketing, whatever your business is, you work. And you work with technology more than likely, especially if you're dealing with, a lot of things. Most things today is digital. We live in a digital world. We're here. So, what this show is basically, we understand there's not going to be a lot of followers here, at least not at this stage of it. It's a brand new concept. In fact, we're building the concept as we fly. Like we're taking off on the runway, and we're throwing the plane together before we try to pull back on that, whatever you call that. Push up on the throttle, you pull back on the low. I've never done a flight simulator or anything, so I don't know what I'm talking about. But anyway, we're taking off. And when we started this show, we had no structure to the show. We know that we had sessions, which is a training thing in our business, Icora, but we did not have, marketing and sales and stuff. And that's the big aspect, is we want to be able to help people with marketing and sales, ourselves included. We want to be able to train people easily. There's so many things that we need to do, and putting a few hours into this creative tech concept. This is like an Acme demo company that we're creating, but why make it a company that is just a demo? We're too small to have a one-trick pony, as you will. So this creative tech concept is essentially for us to show clients that if you just put a couple hours a week, just a few. I literally today did not have the show prepared at all. In fact, the focus today, I was going somewhere with my wife earlier. I was like, I don't even have a focus for today's episode yet. She says, "You're not going to talk about the outage?" And I'm like, well, that's not how the show really works. I'm not going to talk about the outage. But outages are a thing in our world, and we have dealt with them, and this has affected a few of our people, and I'm sure the creative workforce out there, the tech community is aware of the outage and thinking that, if it didn't hit them, thankfully, great. If it did hit them, damn it. But I know it affects everybody. So that's how it was. Like at 9 o'clock this morning, 9:30 this morning, that's when we came up with the focus. While we're in the grocery store, I chatted with ChatGPT very briefly, like, what kind of topics can we have on this? And it's pretty we have a model now for coming up with our focus / topics. And that model is basically the why, how, and what. Why is this related to creative tech in this current, why is this relevant right now? That's the first topic. And the why is because we need to be ready as creative techs because outages happen. That's the focus is outages. Why do we need to know about this? Because they happen. So the why is readiness. That's why we need to be ready for it. The how, which we'll get into the topics, the how is management. That's how you get ready, is by managing things properly and building systems around that management. And then for the third topic, we're going to talk about reflection. There's a lot of different topics that we could throw in here, different words, but we're trying to paint a picture. So we do believe that you need to reflect on, how did you handle it? How did this affect your personal brand and the brands that you're associating with, like your work, your family? Again, everybody has their, I call it a brand, but really it's your own persona or whatever, your reputation. Who do you want to be associated with? So, yeah. That's what today's show is. That's where we are on the creative tech. We're building this whole creative tech platform to help creative individuals that love technology. I'm not the creative technologist. I am a creative technologist. This is the Creative Technologist channel. So this is the Creative Tech channel. I'm Joseph, a creative tech. We hope you're a creative tech too. And this is what we're doing. So now that we got that out of the way, let's talk about today's focus a little bit. Let's talk about the Microsoft outage. What we do know about it is that there's a CrowdStrike, I believe that's the name of the company, which is a third. They basically provide security patches. They work with a lot of government agencies, obviously airlines and financial institutes. Microsoft is the main platform. Well, there was a patch that was being pushed out to all these computers, and something that goes off this catastrophic, that has this kind of chain reaction, this is an issue that builds up over time, and it's hard. These are the things that we dread happening and try to prevent from happening. But sometimes, if anybody really truly understood how massive and how crazy that you pick up your phone and go find a picture from years ago, and that image is not living on anything that you own and get to, and the amount of connections to that and to you for that to happen, because there are outages all the time happening between you and where your data actually lives. Whew. It is wild. And the fact that our infrastructure stays up running the way it does, the fact that I can have this show, it blows my mind. I remember back in 2019 or 2018, actually, I had an assistant, Sarah, Miss Sarah. Actually, Sarah just had a baby. Shout out to Sarah. Her and her new husband, and they just had a baby, and I'm just so excited. And I'm meeting with her later this month just to catch up with her, to hear about the baby and see more pictures. So excited to talk to Sarah. But no, I remember she wanted to go and work in India for a month, and I could tell when she asked if she could go, we're a team. When you work with us, we're a team, and hearing she had aspirations, I looked at that as an opportunity. I'm like, she was wanting to do this program where she got to travel to India and work there for a month. The employer has to be able to allow the person to go there and work. And she did. She went there and she took a phone with her that we wanted her to take with her. We gave her one of our, actually I have one on my desk today. One of my company, Accor, we provide a phone system. This is the phones that we like to use. This is the new model that doesn't have the little head thingy. I don't know if this is, if you're into that kind of geeky stuff. Bottom line is, it's a really nice phone. You do Teams calls on and all kinds of crazy stuff, but really it's just a glorified desk phone. And really, you don't even need these desk phones anymore. A lot of our clients still like having a desk phone, and sometimes you need one at a desk at the front or whatever. Someone might need to use the phone. It still happens, right? But you can actually do all that from your desk phone. Anyway, had her take it to India, and it blew my mind the fact that we had a call, and this was 6 years ago. Yeah, 5, 6 years ago, 7 years ago, maybe. Yeah, it was 2017, 2018, somewhere in there. Anyway, she jumped on a call with us on our phone system that we were hosting in our server that was going through the web. And to think about her being halfway across the world in India on a platform that we put together, that we are providing services to people, like the fact that we were able to do that, our small little selves providing phone services to companies that could be global. I could just focus on phone systems alone. I'm sure I can market that and just sell that and do great. But I don't want to be just a phone company, right? Anyway, the bottom line of this is about outages and how the focus is about outages, and just how many outages do you think occurred while we were on a call? Hopefully very few, if any. But have you ever seen the cabling and wiring in some of these facilities in these places? It's just the infrastructure is huge. Outages are going to happen. And when they happen like they happened last week, or this last week, it blows my mind that we have a global shutdown of airlines. Like, I'm pretty sure it was national. I don't know if it was global, but it was pretty damn big from my understanding. Been very busy. I've been trying to pay attention to it. It's a great talking point because here at the Creative Tech, we want you to be ready, which is our first topic. So let's go ahead and jump into the first topic. We're 12 minutes into it. We're on schedule, if not a little bit ahead. So that's good. We'll have more conversation to talk about the Creative Tech community and experiment some more here here in the show. And we are switching up the agenda just a little bit. We do the intro. Hopefully we're going to have a guest here soon. I have met with a few people, and we'll talk about that more when we get into the Creative Tech community discussion. But bottom line is yeah, I'm excited to talk and share with you guys where we are with building out the community. So, topic 1, readiness. How can we be ready for outages? Well, first of all, I always talk about being aware. You got to be self-aware of yourself, your personal brand, and how you're acting and doing things affect others around you. When you start providing things for people, whether it's a ride on Sundays to the store together because your neighbor doesn't have a car or whatever, like it could be so many different things. But once anybody relies on you for anything, anytime that expectation gets something happens there, that's to me is considered some kind of outage. That's a stopping of service. That's a stop of flow of water, money, manpower, whatever it may be. And you have to think of it that way, at that scale. How is this going to affect every person? And for us, we have a actual phone service. We bought a server, which is a R530, a Dell R530. It's a rack mountable 2U unit, just a 2 cores in there with like I 2 processors with, I think they were like 20 cores a piece. And this was a while back, so these were not cheap processors. We got about 250 gigs of RAM in this single unit, and I put VMware on there, and we can fire up as many virtual machines as we wanted. And if you don't really know technology, basically I had one big computer, and I put a lot of small phone servers inside this one big computer that we bought. That was the very first server that we ever bought. And it's funny too, because when we were selling the phone service, we hired a guy that told us about this PBX platform and how we can get a SIP trunk from any provider and connect it to this and provide phone service to anybody. In fact, we put it at the client site. When I looked at it, I was like, oh, hell, we can actually host that in our server and provide that as a service. We just put these phones at their office and they just work. That to me would be better because we have direct control over everything. Yeah, so that's what we did. But the very first client we went to sell, he was the phone guy. He was the one who wanted to do all the setting up and stuff. I just provide the back end infrastructure stuff. He ends up leaving, going back to another job or something for more money. I guess he was in between jobs. I guess ours was maybe too risky. I don't know what the issue was, but bottom line is we sold our first contract and the installation was that week. And he's like, peace. And I'm like, I guess I'm going to learn how to install phone systems. This is great. Figured out it wasn't that difficult. I even trained the team on it, on most of it. And yeah, we now have around 15 phone systems in our stack that we support. And we're moving those currently out of our servers and into Azure, or I don't know where 3CX is putting servers. If anybody knows, let me know right now. But 3CX is putting their phone servers either in Google, AWS, or Azure. I know that's the ones that they partnered with. We could put it in an Azure environment, which is what I was going to do, but you can pay for the licensing and get the hosting, all that, and let 3CX just take care of it, meaning they have all the SLAs. They're responsible for outages. And you have to think about this. We're a small team of guys that have one server that's going to run out of warranty eventually. And once that warranty runs over, we have to either buy a new server, but we truly believe that the cost of hosting servers in Azure and other sources like that have gotten so standardized and they've worked it out to where now it's cost effective to host it somewhere else than to have to manage this thing. Because when I go on a vacation or whatever it is, I got to have somebody on standby to come here in case something happens. There's always something you're looking out for. So you have to be ready. So depending on you and how you want to be ready and how you want to deal with outages, how many outages, like how, you know how this would have affected a client if their phone system went down? Let's talk about this one company that does nothing but takes orders, and they have to work with both here and Germany and Mexico, and they deal with scrap metal. And we're talking not like, just a few cans taken to recycle bin. We're talking like commercial, large equipment, tear downs of old equipment, buildings, things of that nature, large, just truckloads of metal. And they ship these things globally. So their phone system, and they don't do it over the web, which is weird to me. It's all over the phone orders. I don't understand this industry. I don't need to. I just need to know how they operate and what's sufficient for them. And they needed a phone system. So we got them the phone system, and it went down a few times. Luckily for us, the client is a great client, still a client. They took their phone system somewhere else just because of how necessary it was. And we did have 3 outages. In fact, this goes along with the second topic, but the management, the organization, and tracking of your outages. Oh my, we felt like we felt inadequate ourselves when we started having outages. We were buying Spectrum internet service. And when Spectrum would have these, just the slightest outage, our phone system would go out. And all of our static IP addresses, because you have to have static IP addresses, we have like 60 or 70, 60 something IP addresses between our two WANs at the moment. Bottom line is when your internet goes down, all those IPs go down, meaning all the services go down. Nobody can get to anything. And our phones would go down probably, it felt like it was happening every week for a couple months. And this was back in 2021 or something like that, 22 maybe. And we switched over to Alta Fiber finally because we got dedicated fiber. We were tired of dealing with outages and things of that nature. If you don't know anything about dedicated fiber, it's expensive. We're spending like $1,000 a month right now for our internet. But that's what happens when you become a provider and you're providing services. Outages suck and you can't afford them. You have to be ready for them. And we are now. Especially once we started tracking them and we came up with a procedure and a process. Okay, this account manager is going to get the, they're going to understand why the outage is happening and come up with a message to send out to all the gatekeepers, which is the primary people we work with at each client organization. As they're getting the message ready, the engineers are fixing the problem on the back end and the technicians are dealing with the calls and reaching out to offices, and some offices may not even be aware their phones are down at the moment, and we're reaching out to their cell phones saying, hey, listen, your phones may be down. And obviously we have contingencies. If our client organization's phones go down, we get with the gatekeeper and ask them whose cell phone, or we ask them to have a company cell phone for the company as part of their tech plan, to make sure that when their phones go down, that this cell phone will ring. They won't be able to hit option 1, option 2. They're not going to have their call tree. They're not going to have any of this, but at least the phone will ring. You can answer it, and we can put a standard voicemail in there, just collect voicemails, letting everybody know we have an outage or something. Or we can set up a generic line on the back end. We don't have to have it doesn't have to be a cell phone. There's so many ways to do it, but we're talking about readiness right now. That's the first topic. These are the things that you do to prepare. You have to have contingencies. You have to have, if this happens, how bad is this going to affect my clients? If it's not going to really affect them and it can just go to their personal cell phone, great, that works for this client. But this other client, nope, it doesn't work for them. So if you're not even curious to that level, and your clients are going to notice that. They're going to see that, oh, he's providing me a service, but he doesn't care how it affects me if there's an issue. And if there is an issue, how quick is he going to get it up? Like, yeah, there's a lot that goes in there. All right. We are now 21 minutes into this conversation. We'll take a drink for a second. Hope everybody's doing good this weekend. It's been beautiful outside. I've probably went on 6 bike rides in the past 5 days. It's crazy. Long story there, but the rides themselves have been beautiful. Wednesday was muggy and a little bit icky, but still beautiful ride. And yeah, the last few evenings, 75 degrees outside, just a slight breeze that feels cool. We took the dogs for a ride, got them on it was so nice. Anyway, let's take a second and switch on over. Let's talk about the community for a moment. Yeah, I'll pull up my screen too and share some stuff with you guys as well. But the bottom line is, you know what, dear Lord, I hope I have audio. Wouldn't that be something if I'm doing this whole show and didn't have audio? I got audio. I should have audio. Hopefully everybody can hear me. Well, say, hey, that's what happened on week 18, right? Joe lost audio. I don't know. But the community is really excited because the community really doesn't know it's a community yet. We have some events coming up I'm super excited about, and I'm not sure how to approach it. I see there's some serious opportunities for us to get Rigid 6 in there to show its capabilities. I've even talked to the crew. I've talked to Will. I've talked to Cole. Reached out to a few other guys, a couple audio guys I know, to see if they'd be down in September to come help me with this gig. And I assume the 3 days it's going to be some work, and I know we're going to have some funding. It's not going to be. I'm not trying to do this Midwest Con thing to make money. I'm doing this to show value, but at the same time, I will need people's time and resources. So my time and my resources, I'm willing to give up to help. Obviously, if anything happens to any of the gear, or if there's significant wear and tear on the gear, we will want some kind of compensation there. But I don't even know. Like, I don't know how big to take this thing. Are we seriously breaking out the microphones and helping them with the panels and putting people's heads up on the projector in the background and letting everybody in the crowd see everybody and hear everybody clearly, because you can see the panel up front, but the venue's not that big. Like, there's a lot of planning that needs to happen for this event that's happening in like 6 weeks. Less than that, I think. Do I really want to put my foot in that door? No. We're going to help where we can. And I think we're going to give them some incredible. I'm looking out for the next year and the year after that. So I want to help make sure the whole event gets executed well. Just so everybody knows what I'm talking about. I've been networking a lot. I've met with Rob Richardson a few times. He's a facilitator out at 1819 and a big part of bringing that innovation hub to UC, and knowing what he's trying to do out there. And with this Midwest Con, he owns a company called Disrupt Now, And we are going to talk about disruption here. In fact, I hope to have him on as a guest here on the show as well. I'm actually excited to see some interest for people to let me be on their show and for them to be on my show. Cole has been very busy. I know he's put out a video recently, so go check out Cole's video. I need to make sure I need to find a way to link people to it. I need to get on Facebook and share it with others. I just got HubSpot. So HubSpot's another part of all this. I'm not going to share my screen on HubSpot today, but I will pull my screen up here in a moment just to take a quick look at everything. I want to look at the worksheet. I want to look at the influencer database. I want to look at, the shows. I want you to see where I'm at with tracking the shows. Look at that delta from the very first show up until today. So let's go ahead and take a moment to dig into all of that. Let me take another drink here. And I hope the pace of the show is going okay. I'm trying to stay focused and on it. Hopefully that's bearing some fruit. All right, let's go ahead. Well, I did not mean to do that. Boop. All right. Okay. All right, here's our show view. I created a view called show view just to bring this up. So again, not a lot in here. Let's edit this grid view. Let me take a look at everybody that's in here. Rob Richardson, he's the guy running Midwest Con. He's one of the last ones I talked to. Oh, I want to add Greg in here. Where you at, Greg? Oh, I don't have a picture of him yet. But let's go to LinkedIn. So I had a meeting with Greg, which is somebody that's been doing reputation for 7 years now, and we're actually going to make reputation a focus here in the coming weeks. I'm hoping we did have a first meeting. Definitely interested in jumping on his podcast. He says he's getting ready to launch a podcast, so I hope everybody goes and checks that out. I want to have him on our show talking about reputation as a service. We have our Project Ascend through Icora, which is a beta that we're doing for 2026 tech plan. And what Ascend is basically our VCMO role. It's our role to help companies thrive once they get their managed VCIO taken care of and their tech stacks aligned with their workforce, and they're truly doing things to guide their identity using digital identity. And we start seeing positive results for that. Well, now we turn our focus to business development and making sure all that stuff goes well. Ascend also has something called the VCH, human resources role, basically to manage, like, helping people with their hiring process, their benefits, tracking employee. Like, your workforce is one of the most important pieces, the most important asset you have for your business. The people you have working with you. That truck could be a piece of shit truck. If you have a great guy that can get that truck to point A and point B and knows how to keep the truck running and not to run it too heavy because he knows its limits and keeps that truck alive, that employee is way more valuable. So when you buy a new truck, he's going to treat it like gold, or she. I shouldn't. Yeah, a little bit of that instilled in here. I was born in the 70s, kids. It's okay. All right, so Greg here. There's Miss Sarah. We talked about Sarah earlier. But anyway, Greg here. I need his image. Whoa. What am I doing? Just want to go to his profile, everybody. I want to grab his picture. Save image as. Now some people just put their downloads, and once they put it where they want it, they're done with it. I'm building something here. I'm taking the time, so I'm gonna go to the creative tech. I'm gonna go to my tech influencers, and I should have a folder for him. Do new folder. You can see some of these guys I've just thrown in here. Greg, what's your last name, Greg? I'm horrible with names. What was his name? Yeah. Sorry, Greg. Gosh, Horn. Gosh, Horn. How am I going to remember that? I'm going to have to find a way to remember that. All right, where'd my folder go? Come back here. Well, that's not the right. I'm in the wrong folder. What am I doing? You know when people are looking over your shoulder and it's just annoying? That's how I feel about you guys right now. You're annoying. Hold on. Go. So we're going to throw Greg in here. Wait a minute. Is this somebody else's? That's, yep. Add image. Anytime I work with Greg now, because I'm working with him as a tech influencer, a creative tech, as you will, I will be coming here and making sure we update his information. Display name. This is how he displays it. YouTube. I don't know if he has a YouTube channel. Primary business. I do know he has. Well, come on, list. He is self-employed. What does he put down as his descriptor? That's important. You. Some people don't put anything. Some people put a lot. But regardless, it is an important factor as we, want to know as much as we can about a creative tech. This is what they're wanting people to see about them. I did not. Did I copy it? So anyway, you can see I'm taking too long right now, but ideally, what I'm trying to do here is build out a great. I'm tracking things, is what I'm getting at. Now, I recently got HubSpot. So why am I doing this? If I got HubSpot, will do a lot of this for me, will it not? Well, yes, it most certainly can and would, but this is a very particular tool that I want to build an app out of for the creative tech, and I want this to be here. And if Greg fills out the form or alignment sheet, that will dump the rest of the information in here for me. So I will ask him to fill out that form. And if he doesn't, I'll fill in what I can. I don't see people that are already doing well with their own business. And let's go ahead and take a look at. Do not click here. Well, now we got to click there. He's so clever. All right. So mapping your market. That's the name of the game. So this is his business. He's got some great testimonials here. He's got a very informative website. A bit busy, a bit much information, but again, I'm not an expert in website design and these things. Well, it looks like he's got a YouTube video here. Let's see. Oh. So he does have a Greg G YouTube channel. Oh, all right. My A1 just cut out for some reason. I'm trying to figure out. That's been acting up a little bit, so I jumped off screen for a minute. But anyway, so Greg does have a. Oh shit! I just closed it. No, I'll try it again. Sorry. And I don't know if you guys could hear that. I got to be mindful of that. I play these videos, and I'm not even sure you guys can see or hear it. And yeah, I would rather you guys could hear it because I think that makes all the world of a difference. But I believe the gentleman here that's on the video, this is a AI bot that you can purchase. And core marketing strategy. Yeah, core 4 marketing strategy. So this is their content in the background. And this may be one of their guys. I can't tell if this is AI. Yeah, I have a feeling like that's the voices and the avatar there and the voice here. They're using a different voice, so it's not the same. It's the yeah. It's clearly to a trained eye. I don't know if you even have to be that trained. I don't know. To me, it felt very. I don't know what the word I'm looking for. I want to say sterile, but maybe that's not it. Here we got a video. This must be one of his shows. This is good. Hey, I don't know if you guys can hear this. So I don't want to get too deep into it, but he has a YouTube channel. That's all that matters. That's what we're after. So we're going to get the YouTube channel. And we're going to add that to our list here. And I could have sworn I added his little picture there too. What happened there? Greg G is the name of the channel. It's the name of the game. Then I hit that last time or something. Maybe that's what it was. There's Greggy. All right. And he does have a website too. Shit. Website. Wait. I'm trying to remember. Yeah, mappingyourmarketing.com. There it is. So I started this list before I had a CRM. We're getting the list updated. Mapping your marketing. Yeah, that's right. So we're getting there. We'll get there. I promise. So this list is going to continue to grow and get more data filled into it. Hopefully with people starting to fill out our lovely form. Remember, you're going to go to align.creativetech.com. I'll take you to the form, get aligned with us, fill this out so that way we know where you're at. And once you fill it out, your information gets dumped directly into this list. We won't get a picture from you because you're outside. Like we're using Microsoft to collect this for this form. I would have to build the form a different way in order for you to be able to upload images. But I'm not that worried about that right now. Right now, the goal is to get everybody in as a creative tech, to get them aligned so you get your free sessions in. We're doing free sessions right now. If you call and get a free session, as long as we're not overly booked, there's open sessions. We really don't have anybody calling right now. I'm allowing 2 sessions a week right now. And really 1 hour session, you only need one once a month to start getting some benefits out of it. I don't know how long I'll be giving them out for free, but 2 of them a month. And there's one available for this month still, and there's a whole week left. So, get in there and get your free session in. All right. Topic 2, management. Outages. Now, we've had frameworks as topics on here before for certain focuses. But I thought about using frameworks for this, or frameworks is a good one. But framing things, managing things in a structured framework, really, it's all it comes down to is managing expectations, managing what happens if this goes down, and keeping your systems up to date, putting things that are practical in place. Now, for the data stack that we have, the private data center that we have, we went with Dell hardware, and there was all kinds of crazy cheap hardware in other places that offered these like 2 or 3 year warranties on parts and that kind of thing. But working with Dell and Cisco is great, but Cisco is expensive and we can't afford it, so it's out of the question. But seeing how Dell handles their Pro Support Plus for enterprise equipment, knowing that something happens, and if you're not paying just for the hardware, you're paying for peace of mind. And I know that sounds so cliche and stupid, but let me get rid of this screen. We don't need it right now. Bloop. Yeah, come on in here. Let's get personal. Let's chat. So, if something happens, if a drive goes down, we can afford to have 2 drives go down and still be up and running. If a third goes down, we are screwed. And we haven't had anything go down in quite some time. But that's the way it is with everything. If a power supply goes off in one of our servers, well, good thing there's 2 power supplies, because both of them would have to go bad at the same time, which is very rare. And a very bad catastrophe would have to happen, some kind of shock that destroyed both of them, maybe. I don't know. All I'm saying is when we set up a service and we were setting out to host businesses' most valuable, like their data, their information, their flow of communications, getting that file from point A to point B could be the difference of closing the job or finishing the job on time. Like, there's a lot of pressure and a lot of weight on you, and a lot of times people don't appreciate technology. They take it for granted. They think it's just simple. You push a button, it's there, and it's all good. They don't realize that every byte, every bit, every terabyte. I mean, could you imagine how much data? Like, there's a lot to manage here. That's why we broke it down into 8 service groups that, your network, your workstations, your identity, your basically your Microsoft 365 is basically a big, huge function of your business. That's a service group of ours. This 365 tenant alone is a service. And not all 365s are the same. If you're getting your 365 through GoDaddy, you got garbage 365. You're very limited. GoDaddy, they have all the cool tools to manage your 365, and they only give you certain little pieces. So we give people their own 365 tenant, like whatever it is you do. If you're giving art, we're working on our VCMO, the Ascend project right now. If you're working on art and you want to, let's say you do hand drawing, what does somebody that uses pencils and paper that makes money, doing their art, why are they a creative tech? Well, are they recording themselves drawing and uploading that and working with the algorithms of social media to get the awareness, to get people to go to their Etsy site where they manage their own Etsy store, or maybe they have their own website. Even better yet, don't give Etsy that cut. Drive all that social media to your personal website. That's what I always say. You own it. Yeah, have them go there. So the creative tech part comes in on getting the being your megaphone and your communications, let everybody know you have this. Maybe you have vendors. You start saying, "Hey, I've made this amazing drawing. I'm not going to draw 1,000 copies of this, but I know I can sell 1,000, framed versions of it. I got a lot of people interested online. I want to do it on a higher scale. Let's do $30 a picture. The frame each should cost $10 a piece. Make $20 a pop. You can have the $10 for the frame, for the materials, an extra $5 for labor and doing all the other stuff. And if you guys manage my shipping and everything out of your facility, since you guys have all the frames and printing everything there, all I'm going to do is sit back and collect half of it, or 20% of it, which is still a good chunk, especially 1,000 of them at $30 a piece. That's, you do the math. If you can do that, maybe one picture every month that sells like that, like, you can start doing the math and build the framework. And what happens if you can't draw for a month? Well, good thing you drew 30 pictures. So that way you can, and you recorded yourself doing all 30 of them, so you're releasing your videos on a regular basis. That way, if you're out because you break your hand or something, well, let's use a couple of those cataloged images that we've done, because we do it live all the time to stay relevant. This is managing things that way. If there is an outage, if there's something that happens, or you're not available to do something, or a vendor is down, maybe you have them doing 3 pictures ahead of time, so that way, hey, we're going to release this one next week. We think we got a lot of people interested in this. It did really well in our test group. You get to a point where you're managing things and you're leaning into it. You get ahead of it. You're not being pulled in the directions of things happening. I hope any of this makes sense. I don't know. Maybe I'm just batshit crazy. I could be crazy. All right, let's do a time check. And we're at 1:47. We got the focus. We've talked about readiness. We talked about management. I hope I'm making some good points here and really getting through what I mean by outages and how we as creative techs have to be ready, and why readiness is so important, and how management really brings it all together. Now let's talk about what you need to do when an outage happens as a creative tech, and how to act, what to think, what to be prepared for, what to be aware of, and be ready to reflect after an outage. Think about that. After this outage, I'm going to be reflecting on what happened, and I'm going to be thinking about how I acted, and I want that to be a positive reflection. I want to know I handled an outage. So when an outage does happen, do I want this to be the outcome, or what can I control to make the outcome go this way? Reflect on what an outage will do. That's how, when you walk away from this, just do a lot of reflection. Reflect on how your current state, are you reliable? How often do you have an outage? Reflecting back on us, I would say from 2012 up until 2016, those 4-year period of my professionalism. Actually, take that back. I'm sorry. 2008. That's right around the time I met Jay, my partner, and we got the Cincinnati Bell Public School, or Cincinnati Public School contract for all the break fix for Cincinnati Public Schools. 52 schools. Huge contract. All the break fix. Lots of Apple, lots of Chromebooks, lots of annoying calls to schools. I didn't stick around for that contract. After we landed that contract, I helped the company out. I feel like I helped out the company tremendously at the time. But I moved on to work for a bigger corporate. I graduated college, wrapped that up as we got that contract, and I wanted to go work for bigger companies. I was working for Fifth Third at the time. So I went on to do that thing, and then realized I was miserable, came back. Anyway. Reflecting back then, I did not want to do any of my documentation. I hated tickets. I was like, hey, if a ticket comes in, someone calls in, and you take care of it over the phone, it only takes you 2 minutes, do not worry about putting a ticket in. I was more concerned about just get the work done, make sure we collect our check, and that's all we need to do. The value of having tracking of some sort, and to this day, if somebody calls in, it's only a 2-minute conversation, and they get off the phone quickly, we're not going to take the time to make a huge document and make a fuss about it. But we have created a tier system for our matters, We have a matters versus objectives framework now that we qualify things through. What I'm saying is we learned that we have to document things. And back during we didn't really track outages or anything like that. But back in that summer where I told you we lost a client over our phone system and things were, I knew we didn't have many outages before. We had a couple, but we didn't have a tracking system. We didn't have a need to because there were so few. And when we started getting these in, I know the technicians and my business partner were like, hey, this isn't good. We need to go find another service. We need to do something different. I'm like, hey, well, it's not that bad. The issue is Spectrum right now. We need to get them to fix whatever their problem is or find another provider. Let's focus on that. Well, we clients are saying that things are going down constantly, weekly, blah, 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 blah. Like, well, hold on. I took the time. I was like, let's talk about this in the next status. So over the next few days, I put together a whole system for us to track our outages. And I'm going to pull it up real quick. Just to show you how simply stupid this could be. Oh yeah, you can't see my screen, can you? I thought you could see my screen this whole time. I'm sorry. Let's do this. Boop. There we go. Let's do this. Here's our outages since 2000 and yeah, I'm not sure when this one. I don't know who put this in here. I look at that. This may have been an accidental entry or something. I don't know. But I know that you see all these Spectrum ones here. The Spectrum outage. What power went out. Yeah, this was the power. Our UPS was having issues. RDS servers. So, and a lot of this was due to Spectrum at the time, and it did seem a lot during this between August and October. But if you look here, once we got onto Alta Fiber, we had no more outages for 14 months. I like that. And then it was another 4 months, and we haven't had one since then. And we have had we've had a power outage while I was doing maintenance once, and it went out. I did not consider that an outage because we were in the middle of doing maintenance, but technically it was an outage. It was on a weekend. No clients were affected whatsoever. Not that we know of anyway. But our UPS is screwed. So I think it's probably unfair for us not to record. I might have to go back and find out what day that actually happened. It was only a few maintenance windows ago. But again, ever since we started tracking this, the weight of, oh my God, our systems are we're not giving our 90% uptime. Like, yes, we are. These outages are only out for maybe an hour at the time. Like, that's it. Spectrum, when they went down, they'd be down for hours. That was not cool. But there could be an outage. Our whole stack could go down tomorrow. That would really suck. But if it did, every phone server that is not moved to the cloud yet would begin to move to the cloud. We have a system for that. And our technicians are trained on it, and they can start knocking those out right away. We're doing that systematically, working with the gatekeepers, because there is a cost to it for us, and we are not, we're not somebody that's just going to go after our clients and raise their bills without talking to them. And we want them to understand the importance of doing this change. And we don't have to change it. We can keep it the way it is. But, we're going to start charging a premium once our servers become legacy, because if there's an outage, yeah, that's a problem. So we need to motivate them to go to the new version eventually. So if there's an outage and we have to fix their problem, they have to pay for that as opposed because they're not meeting the requirements of the phone. Anyway, our agreements are all practical, and we need people to be aligned with the standards of the MTP. The MTP doesn't change but every 3 years. If it's forced to change, well, that's out of our control. We can't afford for this change not to happen. Well, that's one of those changes that would happen. Hopefully that doesn't happen. But anyway, hope any of this or all of this is making sense. I don't know. But what I'll tell you is that I feel like being able to reflect on how things have gone in the past and using that information and making sure after an outage you take the time to reflect. What did we do well as a team? Like our process where the client communications is what I think this one here says. Yeah, we have a client communication tab, and we're supposed to put in here what the message was to the end user. Now this list, I can feed this list into AI and tell AI like, hey, listen, we've been tracking our outages since this date. I think after we got rid of Spectrum, we had a really good time. Write me up a little something to share with all of our gatekeepers, because it knows what gatekeeper. I've trained an AI bot on what our gatekeepers are and stuff, and it will draft me an amazing, compelling letter that I can then take and creative tech the hell out of it and make my own. And that's going to save me so much time assessing something, putting the right message together and getting it out to people. It's going to give me a starting point that I can then turn into my own message and give it to people. And that's the power of AI. Like today's show, I didn't start working on it until 20 after 12. I was able to get the descriptor written. Let's go back to that. Where are we at here? Creative tech. Boop. For today's live show tracker, I was able to get this done in 10 minutes essentially, and I didn't write a word of this, but that is the creative tech talking. I read it word for word, and it is aligned exactly with what we're talking about, because the way I've built out the framing and it's strategic thinking. The world's greatest thinkers have so much text that makes sense that we all have learned and evolved from. AI is learning how to predict the next best word, the next best sentence and phrase or framing for this based off of all their writings and the ways they were able to get their thoughts across. If you are good at explaining to AI what you're wanting to get done and what you're wanting to say. Now, I did go in here and proofread it, and I think I had to change a few words here and there, but again, it gave me a great polished beginning point that I can just fine tune. I did not do an agenda today. I have found that this agenda is here for when we have guests. That's where it's going to be useful for me. I'm starting to get the flow of the show. Intro, focus, topic one, talk about the channel and our growth, and go into the topic two and topic three. Now, the intro also has, there's the things in the intro that I have to get done. I have to talk about who I am. Why is the creative tech happening? And what is this channel even about? What is today's session about? And how does that align? And the breakdown of the focus topics, basically. Not so much the focus. I don't talk about it too much. I'm more talking about the framework of focus topics. We have a focus that's geared towards the creative tech that aligns these three topics with it, that's relevant today on the why, how, and what. Yeah, I kind of said that kind of messed up. But anyway, it's a beautiful framework that I was able to train AI on, saying, hey, anytime we have a focus or something that happens, I give you a focus and we come up with a one-word title for that. You're going to come up with the why, how, and what. Give me some suggestions, and I will finish it from there. And would not have been able to do half of what I'm doing in the short amount of time I do it in weekly. It's actually looking really good. I wish I could, what's the one way I can show you guys? I like this view because it really shows the delta. And I know we're wrapping up today's show. We're just about done. Let's see if we can, wrong button. Yeah, close that. So, wow. I'm not even sharing my screen still. Let me go a little bit bigger here. Hold on. Yeah. So all these shows right here, these are all potential shows for the future. Okay. So this show down here at the bottom, this one right here was the very first show. Show 2, show 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And you're going to see we didn't have a descriptor. We didn't have agenda at the time. We've always had a folder where we keep our agenda and documents. We didn't even have this list created when we did the first show, but we did have the folder structure. No thumbnail. This column didn't exist until we got way up, until we had thumbnails. Facebook group count. I don't think we have anybody new. We can go take a quick gander here real quick. Actually, let's go straight to the group. And we're at 30 members still. So no big changes there. Still at 30. Count. So, and you can also see we didn't have thumbnails up here until episode 11. So we should have 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8. Well, I guess, yeah, 11 would be 1. So, yeah. We've had 18 episodes, not 7. Anyway, yeah, I'm trying to keep the theme to the thumbnails pretty consistent. I'm trying, like the purple thing's fairly consistent. I'm using AI to make all the thumbnails. I hope they evolve and get better over time. But right now they're just kind of, especially today's was last minute. Oh my God. I did that in 5 minutes. So I wouldn't be surprised if there's a typo in it. All right. I'm over time. I'm trying to be really good about starting and stopping on time. And I think we did it. We got through today's show. We got everything done. Not much of an outro today. Should have started that 5 minutes ago. But anyway, we're staying busy. A lot of networking going on. Want to get some people on the show. I think that'll help make it a little bit more entertaining. This isn't supposed to be entertaining. This is supposed to be structured, on point, and doing what we're saying we're doing. We're talking about the development of this experiment and its progress, and what we're doing is half of the content for the show. The other half is that there's an actual focus and topics that we're talking about. In fact, that's supposed to be the meatier part of the session. And when we have somebody on here, we're going to find whatever it is, that whatever they are doing and the creative tech, we're going to find a focus that aligns with them. Just like, Greg is into reputation. His focus is going to be reputation. We're going to do the why, how, and what that aligns with us. We're going to have that conversation before we do it. With Rob Richardson, when he's on the show, we're going to talk about disruption. Disruption is a big part of what we do. We want to disrupt things in the right way. The outages, that's bad disruption. So we're going to talk about positive disruption. Innovative disruption. Yeah, it feels good. Feels good. So, listen up, bastards. I want you to keep it heavy. Keep it real. We're going to tear shit up. I love what we're doing. Stay positive out there. Yeah, just keep it heavy and keep it real. That's all I'm asking you to do. Be authentic. Let's see that passion. Let's get it going. All right, guys and ladies. We'll see you next week. Peace.